It's something we all say, right? I just want to be happy. But what does that even mean? Seriously, it's a question that has kept thinkers busy for thousands of years. And today, we're going to dive into that philosophical journey and try to find an answer. Let's get into it. And I know, at first, it sounds like a super simple question. But the deeper you go, man, the muddier it gets. Are we talking about a quick burst of fun, a long-term feeling of peace, or is it something else entirely? We've got to figure out what we're even talking about. Yeah, just look at this list. When you or I say happy, we could mean any of these things. Pleasure, contentment, fulfillment, joy. They're all kind of different, aren't they? This is where all the confusion starts. Are we chasing a temporary buzz, or are we aiming for something way bigger, like a life that's truly well lived? Okay, so let's start with the most obvious answer, the one that probably pops into your head first. For a very long time, a lot of people have said that happiness is, well, just about feeling good. This is what's called the hedonic view. And you can see the appeal, right? It's just so simple. Think of your life like a scale. As long as the pleasure side outweighs the pain side, you're on the right track. But as simple and intuitive as that sounds, it runs into a really big problem. To really test this idea, philosophers came up with this brilliant and kind of famous thought experiment. Okay, so picture this. There's a machine. You can plug into it for your entire life, and it will feed your brain a constant stream of perfect, pleasurable experiences. You would feel like you're achieving every goal, finding true love, having incredible adventures, every single moment. The catch? None of it is real. You're basically just a brain floating in a vat, living a perfect simulation. So the big question is, would you plug in? And what's so wild is that almost everyone, when you really push them, says no. And that no tells us something huge about ourselves. We want the real deal. We don't just want to feel like we're living a good life. We want to actually live it. Pure pleasure, it turns out, just isn't the whole story. Okay, so if happiness isn't just about feeling good, then what is it? Well, that leads us to the next big theory, which says it's not about how you feel, it's about getting what you want.
Now, this desire satisfaction view, it seems like a major upgrade. It gets that my happiness might look totally different from your happiness. If you want a quiet life in the woods and I want to be a rock star, we can both be happy by getting what we want. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing anymore. But yeah, this theory has some serious problems too.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We can be tricked by advertising into wanting stuff that's actually bad for us. We can have desires that are self-destructive. And how many times have you gotten something you thought you desperately wanted only to feel kind of empty afterwards? Turns out, just checking things off your wish list isn't the magic bullet for a good life. So, these first two ideas, hedonism and desire satisfaction, they both kind of fall apart under pressure. And that forces us to look at this whole thing from a completely different angle. What if happiness isn't just about how we feel inside, but something objective, something real? And for that, we've got to go way back to the ancient Greeks. They had this amazing word for it, eudaimonia. Now, it gets translated as happiness, but a much better word is flourishing. And for Aristotle, the guy who really championed this idea, it wasn't a feeling you chase. It was something you do. It's the lifelong activity of living well. This quote right here just nails it. Happiness isn't found in those little moments of bliss you might feel. It's the sum total of living your whole life with purpose and with good character. It's an achievement. It's something you build day by day. Okay, here's a really simple way to get it. What makes a knife a good knife? Well, it cuts well, right? It does its job excellently. So Aristotle asks, what makes a human life a good life? It's when we excel at what makes us uniquely human. Things like using our reason, building community, and acting with virtue. All right, so if happiness is this grand activity of flourishing, what do you actually need to do it? I mean, what are the ingredients? It doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It has to be built on a solid foundation. Well, this whole idea of flourishing is really built on four massive pillars. First, you need a sense of meaning or purpose to guide you. You need virtue, things like courage, honesty, and kindness, to build a stable inner character. You absolutely need deep social connections because we're social animals. And finally, and this is important, you need a bit of good fortune. It's really hard to flourish if you don't have basic things like your health and safety. Okay, this brings us to our last big idea. And honestly, it might be the most important one of all. It's a really weird twist. a paradox, actually, about how we go about finding this good life. Here it is. The harder you try to feel happy, the less likely you are to actually feel it. It just slips through your fingers. It's like trying to grab smoke. The very act of constantly checking in with yourself, asking, am I happy now? How about now? It just breeds anxiety and disappointment. So chasing happiness head-on totally backfires. The secret, it turns out, is to pursue it indirectly. You have to focus your energy outward. You focus on doing meaningful work. You focus on building real, deep relationships. You focus on a cause or goal that's bigger than yourself. And then, almost without you noticing, happiness just shows up. It arrives as a welcome side effect. And that really is the core lesson from this whole philosophical journey. Happiness isn't some shiny object you go out and grab. It's the condition that naturally arises when your life is pointed in the right direction, towards things that genuinely matter, like meaning, virtue, and connection. So I guess the question I want to leave you with is this. Take a look at your own life. Are you just chasing after little hits of pleasure, these fleeting happy moments? Or are you taking on the bigger, more meaningful project of building a truly happy life? Because thinking about that, well, that could change everything.